All right, we are in the very last episode of our series, 5 Lessons 2025 Try to Teach You. How have you been enjoying it? Did you get some good nuggets? Did you get some good takeaways? If you did, please tell me. Tell me I did not do all these episodes in vain. We are on our very last one now. As you already know, we were only supposed to do 5, but this one was really important. So I wanted to make sure I included it. There's another one that is really important, but I said no, absolutely not. I will just include it as a regular part of the podcast. Okay. So you already know most of what will stop you this year are problems that you did not solve last year. Right. And so we do not want that happening again. Right. We are on a mission to help you increase your awareness so that does not happen again. And one of the biggest places that is a problem, and it happens to be our lesson number 6, is around investment decisions. Right? Oh my, I could spend 22 minutes talking about investment decisions. Now, when I say investments, we often think just money, money we're pouring into coaching programs and service providers and whatnot. And we definitely want to include that. Okay. But I also want you to think about your investments of time, your investments of energy, right? As well as your investments of money, right? Because what influences you or who influences you, right? To create a new lead magnet, or which platform you're going to be on, or which programs to get into, or masterminds to join. Like, I want you to think about this from a time, money, and energy perspective, not just money. Okay. What I found in 2025 is that most people do not have a way that actually works when it comes to making sound decisions around investments. Now they have a way that they make decisions of where they'll put their time, where they'll put their money, where they'll put their energy. But I said a way that works, right? And works means it actually produces the outcome or the result that I was hoping it would produce, or better, right? What the thing I want you to be able to hear is starting, and it could be starting your business, it could be starting your calling, right? Starting doesn't require the same level of intentionality that finishing does, right? What is being asked of us is to be far more intentional so that way we can actually finish our assignments, not just start them, right? And what often happens is that we, not always, right? But sometimes we're blaming coaches and experts, and they definitely have a part to play, right? We're not excluding them altogether, right? Go back to lesson number 5. I talk about that. Okay. Um, I talk about the fact that we do need to raise the standard in the coaching industry. It's a problem, obviously, right? Either from your own personal experiences or client stories or social media stories, whatever it might be, right? So there's a part that the expert or the coach plays for sure, right? But here's the other thing that I witnessed. Right. And I'm going to use Alex Hormozy as an example. Now, I don't know whether you like him, don't like him, know who he is, don't know who he is. It doesn't really matter. I'm just using him as an example um, because I thought this was so interesting. Okay. It's not new, but it was just a good reminder of something for me to talk about. So, Alex Hormozy is a business coach and has been super successful, running all kinds of businesses. And he wrote some books and was promoting his books on TikTok, specifically TikTok Shop with affiliate marketing. Okay. He is a big marketing guy. And so he understands, all the forms from cold outreach to paid ads to affiliates, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So he was using affiliate marketing and using TikTok Shop to promote his books. Okay. And one day I ran across multiple videos that were basically hate videos about him, right? And the issue was basically they were promoting the products, meaning, let's say they had created 5 different videos that were promoting the products, and then they got a notice, right? Some kind of, not email, that's not the word I'm looking for, some kind of communication from TikTok that says, we're no longer paying out commissions for this book. We're no longer blah, 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 right? And so I started to see all these videos of people throwing the book down and saying, don't buy from him. And right, like, and it was from everybody who were like no name people, right? People who had small followings and, nobody would know their name, all the way to business coaches who have 7-figure businesses, right? And so I thought it was so interesting. And the reason why I thought it was so interesting, because I knew from the moment that I started watching these videos, oh, this isn't true. Because the main issue that they were having is, why do these famous people with a bunch of money are so capitalist and greedy that they would keep commissions from, quote unquote, the little guys or the people who are doing the labor? And I'm like, oh, you clearly don't know Alex Hormozy. Like, that don't even sound like something you would do. Now, to be clear, I don't know that man. Okay. I never met that man in my life. Right. But the reason why I could almost guarantee that something about this isn't accurate is because I watch his content, right? Like, I watch a lot of his content. And so I have a pretty decent feel for him. Does that mean I know him? No, it doesn't. But I know how to read a room, right? I'm pretty good at reading people. Okay. So because I have consumed a fair amount of his videos, I have a read on him that maybe other people do not. And lo and behold, it turns out I was right, right? The reason why I know I was right is because Alex Hormozy sent out a DM, right? I can send it to people who are interested, but I got it as a TikTok shop affiliate, even though I don't promote nobody's products on TikTok. But maybe one day. I did sign up for it. I just don't do it. Okay. So because I am a TikTok shop affiliate, I got the message, even though I do not sell his products. And the message basically said, there has been some confusion. You will get paid. We are not pulling back any commissions that you are owed, right? And then he went on to say, we are no longer selling the product on TikTok Shop any further because it doesn't make any sense based on TikTok Shop's rules and regulations, right? But he then went on to reiterate, but you will get paid. We will be paying out all the commissions prior to us making this. Anything that was, is due to you, you will get. What we're saying is that moving forward, we will no longer be selling this product on TikTok Shop, right? And I just replied, yeah, I knew. It's cool. Don't worry about it. And they replied again, obviously wasn't him, somebody on his team, whatever. Thank you for, trusting us and, being patient, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't have any worry about it at all. Right. And so my sale of this to say, I share this story, not because I'm an Alex Hormozy fan, but because I was able to quickly discern when there is a problem. I don't need to panic because I trust the source, right? Like, I trust the person who's doing the thing. Right. And the question becomes, well, how could I do that? Right. And there's lots of reasons. One of them is because I consume a lot of his content. So I have a decent read on the guy. I also have good discernment, right? Which is why I've never been scammed as, a consumer who spent tons of money in the coaching industry, right? And what I want you all to hear, the reason why I'm saying this is because we need better discernment, right? We need to have a better way to make decisions about where we invest our time, money, and energy. Because the way that we make decisions is often not yielding the return that we're hoping for. Right? It's like we're deciding who we're going to buy from and who we're not going to buy from for reasons that make no sense. Right? And I could go on and say countless other names. This one is a little bit more new. It's in 2026. It's not a 2025 lesson, but it's the same thing, which is around Amy Porterfield and her closing her course and how everybody is saying courses is dead and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, courses are not dead. Like, why would you think that? Because somebody famous closed their course down? Like, why are we connecting the two? Because she did this, it now means X, Y, and Z about the industry. Are we sure? Are we sure that that's what it means? Like, do we want to have that all or none kind of perspective? I watched a several videos on TikTok that were about the diarrhea CEO. And it was specifically about one of the guys who was a psychologist who was on there talking about the male loneliness epidemic and, all the things that come with that. And the gentleman who runs, Stephen Bartlett, who runs the Diary CEO, was basically asking, should we as a society intervene? And there was a number of videos on TikTok that said Diary CEO is trash, he trash, the guest is trash. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And they were just outraged that they were even asking the question. And it's like, so then I had to go back and watch the whole clip because obviously, they're just showing clips of it on TikTok. And I'm like, when you watch the video, this is not an unreasonable conversation. This is not an unreasonable question. You're taking it out of context and you're not very open-minded because let's just run the tape all the way through. If there truly is a male loneliness epidemic, what are the consequences of that? Oh, violent crimes go up. Violent crimes against women, rape, right? Violent crimes, just, fighting and things like that. Why? Because when men are, so when you read it all the way through, it's not an unreasonable question to say, well, should we intervene as a society? But what the videos were saying were, so we should just help these guys get laid because they're lonely? Why are we even asking that? I'm like, girl, that's not what he's saying. Are y'all even listening to the same damn video that I'm listening to? So because I've seen so many of these bigger name people, Alex Hormozy, Amy Porterfield, Stephen Bartlett, et cetera, and people just not seeing it from the perspective. I'm like, no wonder we're making bad investment decisions. Right? 2025 is trying to get you to have a better process for how you make investments. Right? Because the truth is the bulk of the responsibility is on us as consumers. Not all, right? But the bulk of it is on us. And the better we get at making decisions, the better ROI we get from those decisions. The better ROI we get from those investments. Right? Which means we can't make decisions from trauma. We can't make decisions from the last coach was trash, so I'm not doing the next coach. We can't make the decisions from ego, right? Or from FOMO, or from idolizing, the coach, right? So the question becomes, what do you consider? Here are some things that I just want you to, that I think would help you in your decision-making process. Number one, clarity about what you need. The more you know what you need, the easier it is to pick something, right? Pick a solution that aligns with that problem, right? Now, I get it that you may not know how to solve the problem. That's why you hire people to help you. That's why you hire experts, right? But even if you don't know the solution, you should be able to name the problem. And then as you start to seek out solutions for that problem, you might even find, oh, that isn't the exact right problem. I thought it was this, right? But it turns out it's this. But you started by having a certain level of clarity about what your problem is, right? If you know what your need is, you have a better idea of what to look for and what to ask. That's number one. Number two, you need to understand your non-negotiables, right? What are the things you buy? What are the things you don't buy, right? Who do you like? Some people don't buy from people who don't align with their values, right? One of mine is 99% of the time I don't buy courses. That's not a 2025 thing. I didn't make that decision in 2025. That was a 2018 thing. Why? Because I know me. I'm not going to watch your 20 video course. Right? Now, there are exceptions. It's not that I would never buy a course, but it is rare. Right? I have my exceptions. I know what those exceptions are. If they are in one of the top 3 areas where I am seeking mastery, then yes. Right? If this course is going to improve one of these 3 areas that I want to be a master in, then I'm subject to buy every book, listen to every podcast, buy every course, join every mastermind on the areas that I want to master. Okay? Everything else, I'm not buying it. Why? Because that's one of my own non-negotiables. What are yours? Right? Another reason why is because I personally need the ability to ask questions. I know going into your course that your curriculum is not going to be that great. Why? Because of what I talked about in lesson number 5. Most of y'all are not good at teaching what you are good at doing. You might be a beast at Facebook ads, but you're not that great at teaching Facebook ads. So because of that, I also know I need to ask you questions because I'm going in knowing that your course is probably not that fantastic. And I will deal with your course not being fantastic if there is coaching included. But courses don't typically have coaching. So it's a hard pass for me. The question is, what are your non-negotiables? Right? Another one that would help you make good decisions is understanding your preferences around personality types. Right? So a good example of this is there is a woman that I like very much. I like her as a person. Okay. I have been to her house, I've been to her events, I bought programs from her, all the things. Okay. I like her as a person. I also trust her as an expert. Okay. And she was one of those people who would inbox me, every few months to just check in and see if I'm interested in the mastermind or see if I'm interested in, purchasing something that she has going on. And one day I just told her, hey, you don't actually need to reach out to me because I'm never going to join your mastermind. And I didn't want to be, I didn't say it quite like that, but I did say it, right? I don't even want you to waste your time. I'm not being mean. Like, I'm not going to buy your mastermind, right? And of course, naturally, she wanted to know. And what I had to share, not in these words, right? But one of my personal rules, right, is that if I don't jive with your personality, I don't want to be in a long-term container with you. The things that I had bought from her up until that point were shorter things, right? They were 1-day events or 3-day events or 6-week things or 8-week things, or, they were all shorter. I'm happy to do that because I trust your expertise, right? But our personalities, that whole year thing, hard pass. But I knew that going in, so I didn't get bamboozled by her expertise, right? And not bamboozled as in if she's not an expert, but I don't have buyer's remorse because yes, you're an expert, but I don't want to listen to you, right? That's only because I'm grounded in grounded in what I need and who I am, right? So what are your non-negotiables? What are your preferences? What do you need, right? What are the indicators that you should buy from someone, that you should listen to someone, right? Is it how much money they make? Is that what matters the most? Is it the skills that they have, right? Like, I want you to think about what goes into your decision making and to come up with a decision making process that you can use and then over time perfect. That is the cheat code to your investments, is you having a decision making process that works.